On a day when we should be all out on the streets, decked out in our green and shamrock, cheering on communities in parades and celebrating our cultural and religious festival, the Mad Ravens bring you their St. Patrick's Day in music and words. On a day for marching bands, landmarks lighting up and rivers running green, the Mad Ravens salute our patron saint in full voice. On a day when we identify what's special about being Irish, be it spirit, culture or views of the world, the Mad Ravens send out to you, Sligo people, Irish people and people of Irish descent, a Céad Míle Fáilte. Like our nativity celebration, for some this day is about faith. For some, a festival, and for some, an opportunity to have a good old knees up. So whether you're wetting or drowning the shamrock, pull up a chair, forget about this crazy world, and join us.
I have smelt in the lichen along the river Bonnet, the ancient world of the Druids, the sweet, earthy, serene aroma. Leaves turning to fire, falling gently to the ground, smelling of the last of summer, making way to Samhain. Magical and enchanting. But, like Noah, I will breathe in the burnt offerings on sacred altars, for the Spirit resides in God's breath, pure, fresh, holy. I have heard in the whispering wind stories of a sleeping giant above the lapping lake. But his slumbering snores and somnolent rumblings will not threaten the thread of my steadfast staff. I have touched the oak like the Druids, those knower of trees. I have wrapped my arms around the oak below the Dartry hills and felt the wisdom of the world through its vision and its beauty, and the energy of the tree is in me, meaningful and powerful. But the tree of life is the paradise of God the Almighty, the wisdom of the Bible, and the cross of Christ. I have seen in my dreams a murder of crows rise up from Cottage Island, in a cacophonic flap from the branches above the wasted ashes of a druid's fire, and scatter widely in the billowing wind. The pregnant words of my Lord and Saviour will penetrate through their barren cause to feed the gaping mouths below. I have tasted the healing waters of the well in the cliff, where the trampled ground holds the mighty disturbances of battle, where Lugh of the harvest wrestled with the stooping crom dove for the vine and the fruit. But I shall call on the spirits of my God to imbue these waters with Christian sap, wrung on the branches of a Calvary tree, tearing God from man, and the imprint of my hand in this rock will bear testimony.
Remember back to when you were brought out to the backfield to pick fresh shamrock to pin like a prayer in your lapel, or standing at the window as the procession of green pageantry passed, or the pang of longing to be back in your hometown. Remember back to after the sweetened cake drought and the purgatory of Lent, breaking into the secret stash of treats, wishing the Easter eggs wouldn't be far away. The making of flags and badges in the class, practicing of hymns and swaying on weak knees in front of the flailing baton. Remember feeling sorry for the little boy Patrick on the hillside, with only his sheep, missing his family and dreaming of escape. Remember standing with blue legs and frozen fingers, proud as a cloud to be Irish and feeling part of something magical, part of a communal tradition of shared bonds, as both Hardy and Kavanagh concluded, "Ah no, the years o', how wonderful that was, how wonderful."
It was over 1500 years ago, so it's not surprising some of the facts have become confused or indeed invented. Patrick was born in Britain, maybe Cumbria, maybe Carlisle, or indeed maybe Scotland. Nobody is quite sure, despite the extensive research. It is known that his father was a deacon and a minor official. At the time, raiders known as Picts came inland and stole clothes, arms, animals, and indeed young people, and sold them across the sea. Smash and grab it was called. So let's imagine it was these Picts who crossed from Strandford Lough, and let's suppose that Patrick was out wandering in the fields because for sure, as we find out, he was a dreamer, and these wild Picts crept up on him, threw a sackcloth over his head, dumped him into a cart, and dragged him down with several other boys to the estuary, crying and screaming. Here they have a boat of willow and hides of oxen, and Patrick and his frightened companions are flung into the hold, and you can hear the cluck of the oars slotting into the oarlocks, and the whoosh of the sails caught in offshore winds as the boat pushes out of the loch. And above the rush of the wind and rain, you can just about hear the voices build in strength and resolve to the rhythm of the waves.
Blow the wind westerly up with the sails, way ho, heave and pull. Stay away storms and stay away gales, way ho, heave and pull. The wind will drive us 10 leagues to the west, way ho, heave and pull. Our boats will scud along 10 knots at best, way ho, heave and pull. Show me a merrier crew, me boys. Look to the windward, the captain cries, hold on the cam and sail on the swell. Show me a merrier crew. Oh, what have we got in the cargo hold? Way ho, heave and pull. A pig and a lamb and a 16-year-old. Way ho, heave and pull. What will we drink and what will we eat? Way ho, heave and pull. A goblet of wind and a bone as a treat. Way ho, heave and pull. Show me a merrier crew, me boys. Look to the windward, the captain cries, pull on the cam and sail on the swell. Show me a merrier crew. If I had an acre, I'd sail on the land. Way ho, heave and pull. But there's nothing I know, set the oar in my hand. Way ho, heave and pull. I wish I was sat within marble halls. Way ho, heave and pull. A roof for my head and surrounded by walls. Way ho, heave and pull. Show me a merrier crew, me boys. Look to the windward, the captain cries, hold on the cam and sail on the swell. Show me a merrier crew. I have a girl and she's waiting for me. Way ho, heave and pull. She bites like a snake and she stings like a bee. Way ho, heave and pull. She squandered me fortune and left me for broke. Way ho, heave and pull. I kiss her and squeeze her, then give her a poke. Way ho, heave and pull. Show me a merrier crew, me boys. Look to the windward, the captain cries, pull on the cam and sail on the swell. Show me a merrier crew. Woo!
On arrival in Ireland, Patrick was sold as a slave and brought to the Flemish mountains in County Antrim. This was cold, tough, lonely work for a young boy, minding sheep and chasing off wolves, dogs, foxes, or even bears which would take them or their lambs. Imagine Patrick on the mountain, cold and scared, listening to strange sounds and looking up at the moon and the stars. Imagine his family on the other side of the sea, looking up at the same moon and stars and praying that Patrick would be safe and would one day make his way back to them. Imagine Patrick on this lonely mountainside, contemplating not only his despair, but maybe catching a glimpse of the wonder of the universe and praying to a greater power for hope of escape. And dreaming.
I'm cold and I am hungry. I've got an ache in my heart and I long for the pleasures of home. See those bright stars that shine down on me. Where are my mother's arms, my father's words? I am running wild and free. For the moon shines the same old smile on my home and family. I wish, oh I wish in vain that God could hear this shepherd's plea. And do I see a boat rigged to sail and a captain calling my name? Release my chains and my shepherd's staff and give me courage for the winding road. Bear me safely o'er the waves to my home and family.
Patrick escapes back to his family in the boat, but he was no sooner home than he had a dream that the Irish were calling him back to walk once more among them and to tell them about this God of forgiveness and salvation. So he headed off to do his studies in France, where he trained in a monastery, possibly under Saint Germain, the Bishop of Auxerre. In fact, it was probably 12 years before he came back to Ireland, this time not as a slave, but as a missionary bishop with the Pope's blessing.
It's not the world to last your life. Say goodbye to struggle and strife. Drink your fill and sing into the morning. The God of sun, the God of moon, dance the rhythm of the tunes. Drink your fill and sing into the morning. The bird is whistling in the tree, and how I love the melody. Welcome in the daylight and the dawning. The beating of the howling packs, the thrill of hunting down the tracks. Drink your fill and sing into the morning.
Lay down your heathen ways, leave go your myths and lore, and the flower of the shamrock will dress the path, and the cross will protect your road. I'll take all your circles and stones, I'll wrap them in words of truth, and the snakes I'll repel with the chapel bell, and drive them into the sea.
Patrick journeys far and wide, baptizing and confirming. He performed miracles, sprouting roots from his staff, praying over the converts who had been slain or kidnapped by the soldiers of Croticus, and praying for food for hungry sailors. He often reimagined the pagan rites and symbols into the Christian ceremonies and rituals which won over the Irish. Although a humble man, he got under the skin of his ecclesiastical superiors in Britain and was often vilified by them, or indeed cast in chains by local chiefs. On one such occasion was the feast of Bealtaine, when Patrick and his priests crept up on the hill of Tara in the form of a herd of deer, where King Lear was lighting the summer fire.
The magic of the daylight hours will triumph over darker past. So drink your fill and sing into the morning. The keyless with the tallest power, Patrick leads a lasting fast. So drink your fill and sing into the morning. The king he stamps and struts about, but Patrick's fire just won't go out. The flames reach up to the summer solstice. The king he says, I think you will, I grant you tending of my kin. So drink your fill and sing into the morning.
And the rest is history. Well, almost. Patrick continued on his quest. He debated with Ushing, fought with demons, and fasted on Croagh Patrick before retiring to Saul. One last journey he made was to Calaspabrone in the barony of Coolera in County Sligo. On his way across the straits from Coney Island, he had to shelter on what's now known as St. Patrick's Fort, which is a very small islet, never known to be covered by water, whatever the tide. He got a great welcome from Bishop Brone, but before he sailed out of Sligo Bay, one disgruntled monk was to be heard complaining about him down on the rocks under the church. In fact, such was his ire that it is said when the wind is blowing the right way, you can still hear him grumble.
Beware, beware of the angry little friar who is seated by Celtic stone. For he martyrs and starters and rants and raves, complaining to Bishop Roan. When Patrick came to stop a while, he stepped on many toes. He told them fast and penance to, swapping fun for sorrow and woes.
If I had enough to be doing then. Oh, cooking and cleaning, washing dishes. Oh, yeah. That's it. Yeah. Go down there and get some shellfish, says he. Bishop Patrick is fasting, says he. Fasting? Oh, he couldn't eat the fat breast of a light-bellied Brent goose like the rest of us. Oh, no. His delicate stomach couldn't handle the sight of a lovely spring lamb roasting on a spit. I could go out to the bay there now and pull out a big pink salmon and season it with salt and pepper and butter and fry it on a hot skillet. Oh, but no. That would be too rich for our Paddy. Oh, I forgot. He doesn't like being called Paddy. Or even Pat. Oh, no. It's Patrick, your reverence. Patrick, your holiness. Patrick, your bishopness. And him coming here at all hours moaning and groaning, and a gaping gap where the tooth should be, and him holding it in his hand as if it had turned to gold. The old relic. Patrick, that is now, not the tooth. Oh, yeah. If he was so keen now on penance, would you think now he'd give up the pain instead of asking Bishop Rowan to preserve the tooth in the tabernacle? Oh, yeah. You never know, it might be worth something someday, says he. And don't you know, it'll sit there rotten till thy kingdom come, and it'll be me that'll have to go out every morning after matins to polish it. Oh, yeah. And then he says, we'll be driven out of the place, that the sea will drive us out. Well, he won't drive me out. What? I'm coming. I'm at everyone's beck and call here, huh? Shellfish, well, you know, he can wait. Fasting. I'll give him fasting.